It's important to nip these things in the bud, let them go, I like that.
And it's in front of a committee now, and I think they're working on it.
Good.
Alright, any further on the highway gate dam property? Alright, hearing nothing, can we move to item B, which is the maps and instructions? Right?
Well, I think it's more
Well, it's
comprehensive.
more comprehensive than that. It is statute where on needed law enforcement on Lake Beulah and comprehensive plan for education, map, safety planning, and enforcement in cooperation with the town, okay? Discussion and possible action. We can take this in any order you want. I actually want to go with education and maps first.
Okay. So we've been working on the map, it's been circulated around. We're also working on verbiage on the back side of it. I distributed the latest draft, it's very rough to all the commissioners, and I asked anybody in the audience, please contribute to how this should look. This is about, how to enjoy Beulah responsibly. It's not targeted at any specific activity. Every activity on here has some good hints and tips on how they should, swimmers, fishermen, kayakers, hydrofoils, tubers, skiing, and wakeboarders, motorboats, whatever verbiage we can put on here. And then we also want to reference all of the town ordinances, because there's a lot of them. And we're trying to make them simpler to understand and to communicate to everybody. So, anybody wants a copy of where we're at right now, please email me and we'll share, and we'll keep pushing it around. And thank you, Mayor.
You could just run a final draft by me, just to make sure, any word.
Alright. Can we go with safety planning and enforcement? Rick, did you want to start?
Well, I wrote the commissioners all a letter, which, actually made it on Facebook somehow, but, just go over a few things that I noticed around the lake. July, 3rd, I was out there, and I didn't see any water patrol. The hole was up there, the entire day. Everybody knows where the cop hole is, so, you can look over there. And then July 3rd night, I did see the whole finally, I don't know what time, but fireworks.
Late.
It was late, and I thought it was this committee, or, it was at the town meeting that said that the boat has to be patrolled with 2 officers. We only have one at night, which is, I think that's great, he was out there. If you only need one, then maybe we could step up to patrol with just one officer, I don't know. July 5th, we spent a good portion of the day on the lake again, saw no patrol again. And on Long Lake, there were 15 plus more boats out there, and none which were surf boats or wave enhanced boats. And there were 2-foot waves without any surfing going on in that big area. And we went over to Mill Pond, and I've never seen so many boats. There was like 21 boats in there, tied up and swimming and enjoying it. But it still comes down, if there would have been an emergency. I don't think everybody needs to go out and have a ticket. We need to have an officer that's an ambassador, do some patrolling there for an emergency. And, jet skis were crazy. And then there's another option that maybe we need to discuss here too, is I did talk to the undersheriff. There's a possibility that we might be able to do a slip seat with our patrol boat, so if there's time that they can't fill it, that we could have deputies from Warwick County, they call it like a slip seat. It's too late for this year, but I think patrolling, no matter what happens with surf boats or when it goes forward, I don't even know how you're gonna control anything if they don't have any enforcement. And I really think safety reasons, we need to definitely do something about this, so, I mean, you all read my letter, so, put some comments on it, or if you got any ideas that help, that would be awesome.
So the sheriff will essentially, I'm sorry, the sheriff will essentially man the town's vote.
Right, we'd have to be discussion with, you know, the town, and then obviously the police chief, but if they're having problems, you know, people have lives too, so they can't do it on a Saturday night because the person got a wedding, and they have two sheriff deputies, slip into the seas. Or, I don't know, or can we do it with one? We could do it with one on July 3rd, and it's the most votes probably ever in the lake, right? They did it with one officer that night. But yeah, so they call it slip seat.
I was really surprised not to see the vote out, I think it was on most of July 4th, and it wasn't.
It wasn't present at all.
We had meeting at 7:30 at night on Saturday, until much later than that, there were, jet skis, taken off about 10 feet off the dock, just down the road, just a little ways away from us. I couldn't believe just the complete lack of enforcement, it was embarrassing. And really, just incredibly disappointed not to see.
Yeah, and as like my letter, I reached out to Lauderdale, they fund all their Lake District does all their safety patrol. And they have 2 patrol, once they have 4 patrol officers, they spend $100,000 annually, 62,000 to give it back, by a grant from the DNR. And I truly believe in, you know, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I think we're the only big lake of this size right around here that did not have any patrol, even Famine had them all 3 days. I'm not sure who deploys them, but I knew somebody that was out there. So somehow we all need to work together here to come up with a solution on this. And I think slip seat could maybe, if it's a problem next year, but I don't think it's too late for this year, I think. We get started and get going.
How to get that going, start.
Well, as could be agreed on with the town and the police chief here, and then he's a former deputy, so he knows the players.
Usually, like municipality would enter into an intergovernment agreement with the county. That would set forth basic ground rules, how this would operate.
And then even if we wanna add, then we can maybe add extra patrols during the week, or later, I don't know, what time did you say that?
7:30.
Yeah, what night was it, Saturday? Maybe get slip seat in on some Saturday nights, you know, I don't know what the answer is, but.
I mean, to Commissioner Stacy's point, the statutes do allow the district to fund their own safety patrol. So that is something that can be done, is within your purview completely.
Or require permission of the municipality.
I believe so, but there's a process to all that, so.
I think the important thing is that responsibility lies with the town.
That's one thing I wanna do is argue who's responsible, we need just to come together and figure this out.
My point is that responsibility lies with the town, that's how it is now, and that's how it's been. And what we should do then is make sure the town has the resources to do the job, either by their own doing or supplement that. But I think you want someone that's really in charge and responsible for it. And not that you put the burden on them, but you put the responsibility on them so that they can then map out the plan and the rest of us can contribute. About 5 years ago, before COVID, things seemed to be working out pretty well, town doing. And I think in the last few years, it's changed quite a bit, so I think I'd like to hear from the town exactly what the situation is. And this is not putting a burden on the town, but just getting the advice and what's really going on, and if the problem is, to start out by saying, let's give them money. Well, that's not the way to do it. Let's find out what the solution is, and then take it from there. And I think that's an important approach to it.
Well, we did speak with them, and with staffing problems, and believe it or not, a lot of it, clearly, he said, is money. People do not, they don't wanna, that is a tough job to do, to go out there, sit on a hose all day, deal with people that are probably intoxicated, having fun. Nobody wants to do it, and he clearly, I don't know if that's what I got out of that meeting. He said, when we got to $70 an hour, they perked up, they could staff that hole. John, they could staff it, so.
But the distance between where they're at and $70 an hour, which is $75 an hour, I think it was, right?
I don't remember.
It was a lot. It's $33 an hour, so they're about $40 an hour, or something like that. In that neighborhood. So, I mean, that's a significant distance, and you still have the staffing issue of parents with baseball tournaments, and every other sport that happens in the summer, volleyball, you know, people are out of town. It's difficult to get people, but how can we get the pool bigger? Or how can we, and I forgot the name, such an intern, a police intern, so that there's two people on the boat. Whether that's a college, kid who's in a criminal justice major, a kid that needs a summer intern job, can drive that boat and let the officer do officer things. I don't know if that's a way to get more officer time on the lake.
Or we invite the police chief here and, you know, start working on it next year, and he can help with this year, but.
Well, it's got, you have to see the plan, so it's something to push against, and then, whatever it takes to achieve it. I mean, if it's gonna be money, then we get the rest money, but we need to know what's required to make it effective, and start there.
I think it would be also interesting to talk to the chief too, because the thing is, I think they have hours out there, but I think a lot of the hours they're out there are the wrong hours. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, I saw them out there from 10 to 12 on Sunday, and there's two boats, and there's one boat that's pulling two skiers and doesn't get pulled over. Like, so.
6 to 7 p.m. is, they need it.
Like, yeah, so like, maybe, you know, sit down with them and kind of chat about when, because, I mean, obviously you probably knows it might be more difficult. Most times, that might be part of the feat, but why waste the time at these weird hours?
At the 10 to 12 hour.
Well, I think one of the other problems is filling the gap. You know, I kind of hear that. You would almost need a dedicated schedule, which might mean part-time employment, versus just filling, tell me, you know, you want some overtime. That's not the answer.
Well, I think both things are the answer.
Combined.
Yeah, and maybe even a little bit of all of the above categories, which is we have to have better scheduling, not just more scheduling. Cause they have, the budget's, I think it's like 300 officer hours. Most of the time, the officers are doubled up, with the notable exception that, you know, both Rick and I saw that night on July 3rd, the officers out there, can you just imagine center console full, you're trying to pull up next to someone, control your own boat, it's not possible. I mean, I was very sympathetic to that, to Officer Runge's explanation, very, very difficult. So, you know, figuring out better hours to monitor, and, you know, we have to randomize those, because everyone knows where the police boat sits, right? I do think we have to be able to have, I don't know how we do it, but have a second boat out there on big nights. Maybe the DNR was out on the 3rd of July, I don't know, I didn't see them.
Joe, something like that.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Okay. We had that meeting. The chief and I have had another discussion or two. We're formulating what approaches. One could be hiring a whole new person full-time. That's clearly a much more expensive deep dive, but it might provide the ability to give more hours. The other thing you were speaking about is community service officers. And the thing that was spoken about there that I think is critical for this group to understand is the DNR will only fund one policing organization. So if you had it here, I'm not quite sure how that would work. If it's with the town, then they can go to the other lakes. I think he can put that in his thing. So that's one factor. The other thing is, if you look at a community service officer versus a safety patrol, the police chief is responsible for the community service officer. And that way, they're legally under more control. They're also with a sworn officer. If you're out there on your own, like a lifeguard, and you make some mistakes, you're subject to some liability. So, there's pros and cons to it all. We're trying to put together 2 or 3 options to lay out for everybody, and I haven't gotten to that yet. The idea of the slip seat, I like that idea. I heard somebody had that, so that's the second time I've heard that. And I think they just charge their hourly to the group, right?
Correct.
So I like that as a 3rd or 4th option. But we do have to do something. Not sure what it is yet, and it probably isn't this year with everybody's budget already locked in. It's probably not something that's happening this year. But we should be able to have it in budget discussions this fall.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on agenda item B? We talked about maps, education, safety planning and enforcement, cooperation with the town. I'm not sure that there's a proposed course of action at this time, other than to continue to work with the town and see if we can't get something, see if we can help put together a plan for enforcement on the day for next year. And beg for more enforcement this year. Does anyone want to propose anything further on that issue?
Godspeed.
More money in the budget, or what do you think?
You don't know yet, wait, get the plan, then you figure it out.
We'll talk about
All right, going once, going twice, I'm gonna move down to item C. Commissioner, Diane, status report on progress in installing buoys and signage around the entire lake town ordinance for the south 200 feet shoreline, discussion and possible action. Chairman, Diane, you have already covered quite a bit of this. Is there?
We're gonna just start next year, it's too late this year.
Okay.
Should we go with fuel?
Well, we're gonna do some testing.
Should we pick a sensitive area and try and protect a sensitive area this summer? Would that be a good spot, or?
we gotta see the impact of us changing it. But one that's very easy to do is West Bay, the red and green buoys, you know, they're gonna be like 8 feet long, and we can put them, the chains, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
And to help guide people through that, you know, that's one easy to try and see how it looks, and see if it helps people. John can let us know if they still get lost in the lily pads and things.
I'll keep an eye on 'em for you.
Should we send our letter that says for next year, with respect to your private buoys, you may donate your private buoy to the lake and we'll place it accurately. You can remove it, or you can pursue your own permit. Should we get that letter out this year?
I thought we were gonna make an announcement, meeting.
For the 100 people that might show up to that
Yeah.
meeting, I got
Oh,
400 people.
we do both.
We do both?
Yeah.
Should we get it out while people are at their, yes, should probably get it out in the summer.
And then they can have time to decide.
What they're gonna do. Alright,
I actually might save people some money too, because they're paying for people to pull out.
That's true. They'd like to know if they're gonna donate.
if they're gonna donate,
Wow.
before they pull them up.
Oh, I wasn't saying that, so I was saying, when they put it back out.
Thanks.
Go pick it up.
Alright, so as far as possible action, is that, motion to get that communication out, who's, I can work with communication, we should get that. Or should we bring it, yeah, let's just write a separate communication, let's get it out, we'll have it on the agenda, we'll announce it at the annual meeting. There'll be at least 2 points of contact on that.
And I sent you a copy, forwarded, where the code is, where this claims, or something.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, try to use that language.
Alright, do we need a motion on that?
Just do it.
Alright, let's go on. Status report on further study of Beulah downwash wave impact caused by rising watercraft. I did get a statement of work from Terra Vigilis. I do not have Wi-Fi here, which is gonna make it very hard for me to get access to my computer, but I can try. Oh, bring my computer in. The plan is very similar to last time, except with a variety of boats. There is a large, surf boat. It's not a large surf boat, I can correct that, it's sort of a standard size surf boat. There's, a couple of options, for boats that, Mr. Kubitschek and I probably need to discuss. He has a relatively large, what do you call it, deck boat.
Fiberglass deck, well, it's
Fiberglass.
3,500 pounds, you know, 20 feet, it should do well on weight.
I have a large DVA stern drive, 21 feet, over 2,000 pounds. As options, I believe we have recruited jet boats, and pontoon boats. So those would be the boats. The study is very similar setup as far as cameras. There will be divers. One of the problems with the initial test was it was very, very windy that day. And the camera tripod was held up using in part a buoy. When the buoy drifted, the tripod fell over. So we got camera footage, but the camera footage was not as good as we would like. So divers will be able to monitor that. Divers will also be able to obtain more perspective, around the testing. They will also have cameras so that we can actually see what video they may be able to obtain. So waterproof GoPro. We are planning on, so we did put out, or I did put out a request for boats. I have not had people banging on my door that horrible period between sloping away and, yeah. So that was, the guy that you see standing in his DP boat, cruising around in his sea, that's the operation that we're looking for. Questions? Testing is slated for tomorrow, beginning at, 8 AM.
How many locations?
There would be 3 locations, there's 15 feet, 20 feet, 25 feet. If needed, if nothing's showing any impact there, 15, and we already know that there's impact at 15 feet. If there's nothing showing at 20 feet, there's no reason to test at 25 feet. You're just done.
Have we reached out to all the, like, Protect Lake Beulah and all, everybody else about this test that's happening tomorrow?
POE, well, it was posted on our website, so yes, and emailed out to it.
Yeah, I really didn't even realize it was happening. I absolutely had no idea that it was happening. When you mentioned it to me, I was kind of taken back by it because I thought we were still in the planning stages. So I would have said right away that, no, I don't want that on the because I wanted to be there because I already had a flight loss. And I was just really taken back by it because I thought we had to still vote on it. And we had to come up with a plan and approve the plan. Is what we discussed at the last meeting.
I thought there was a pretty good discussion of what the plan was, so. And as far as dates, I'm not thrilled about the date, so I had to move a lot of things.
Why are we doing that thing?
Because the
Choice, I mean, there's no.
contractors.
Did you get any other bids from any other companies?
I did not.
I'd have to say that the study they did was the most unimpressive study I saw.
To hire the same
I mean,
company and
it was unimpressive to me. It wasn't even the same day, stuff the way it was moved. And we're using the same firm again. I don't know, why are we using the same firm with it? That was not convincing at all, the video I watched.
I just think we're going on the same exact way we did the last one, but adding a few more things to it and not getting enough people involved.
No, I don't need more talkers this time, we have.
Well, I'm saying groups of people, both sides of it, I don't think it's.
How does the group
I'm
impact?
just making sure that everybody's gonna be satisfied with the study, because all of a sudden there's different holes in the study, that there's gonna be backlash from all of those holes. Because that's what happened last time, that's the problem, is there was a bunch of stuff that happened last time, and that's making everybody be kind of stepping back on it, is because it wasn't done right the first time. Why would we go through the same process, but change up a few small things, go with the same company that messed it up last time?
And it even show up. It's one thing when you show up and you do a study and you hear it in person, I get it, they're up north or somewhere. But when you're running a company like that, they should be here.
Part of the statement was they will present the results in person.
Well, they didn't last time. And that was a cluster.
I don't disagree.
So, Todd, what do you think should be added to that?
I wanted to be there, I wanted to just witness it, that was the biggest thing that I was taken back on, is that I really just, I wanted to be a part of it. Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually seen the proposal, so I don't know what's actually going through. So we have, I know Joe sent us an email about what he thought would, be sufficient. I think we should be looking at that. And going through what the proposal was and compare it. Because we don't even know the exact proposal. and having the exact proper boats, the same sizes, we're supposed to.
You can't have the same size boats. When you look at a 23-foot surf boat,
You can't have it.
look at a 23-foot Sea Ray, a ballasted surf boat is double the weight.
I'm saying that you use the length at least.
I did, 23 feet, they're the same length. Now, it's very difficult.
But you said there's one that's 22, there's one that's like.
Oh, come on,
But I mean, it's a study, you want a base study, you need something to compare back and forth.
And we are somewhat reliant on boats that we are able to get volunteer.
But now we're gonna be up to $12,000, if we would, $12,000 minimum, but between the two studies. If we would've had that amount of money, we could have rented those boats, the right, perfect boats. Now we're going down the way that there's gonna be holes in the study. That's what I'm trying to prevent, and there's not.
I don't think such boats are uniformly available for rent. I certainly am not aware of where to get such boats. I have made more than a few phone calls.
I think we bracketed it pretty well. There's certainly the surf boats we have pretty well nailed down. And the other boats, the fact is, we're gonna see very little difference. Very little difference. Now, that's based on fact, it's based on the history, it's based on what they told us, and I believe it is. So, you know, you can have a 22-foot something and 23-foot something else, very little difference as far as the activity goes in the bottom of the lake. You're just not gonna see it.
Horsepower.
Or, yeah, horsepower.
It's much more about the weight. You can have the horse weight and angle. When you have a boat that weighs double, and that's what these boats do, they're weighing double.
So this is a very one-sided study, that's where we're going now.
How is it one-sided?
Because you're saying something is an absolute fact.
So I have to park a Suburban on top of a boat and
That's not
make it
what I'm
a.
saying. That's not what I'm saying.
It's-
I'm just saying do the study correctly and have the input of multiple different groups.
I think it is being done correctly, it's not gonna be, you can't have everything be perfect like that, you shouldn't afford it. But it's in the right
Right,
Yes,
direction.
can afford
we're
anything.
now double the cost because we didn't do it right the first time. So if you don't do it right the second time, we're gonna be triple the cost.
The first time was really preliminary, to get our feet wet, and their visualists actually indicated that too. And I think we did, I think we learned a lot. Now we have, so